Dear viewer, many thanks to you for joining us on the show today on our Naked Television. Yes, of course, you're welcome on board as we are about to take on burning topical issues and matters in society, which is what this platform is designed to do, to bring you up to speed with the current information and happenings in society. We're also here to bridge in the gap, the communication gap between you, the viewer, and from the other end of society. My name is Chris Aniwogo. Thank you for being our esteemed viewer today on the show. Yes, today our searchlight is beaming on the Enugu state government, especially this is May 2025, and this May will be marking the 2 years anniversary of the lifetime of this current administration under the leadership, able leadership of the Governor His Excellency Dr. Barrister Peter Nubisimba in office. But then we're not here to do a holistic overview assessment of the journey so far of this government. But then our interest will be particularly placed upon a sector in the government, which is the transport sector. And we have to talk to us about what has been going on around that sector. You know, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on New Media, talking about Dr. Ruben Onyishi. Doc, it's a pleasure having you join us.
Well, Chris, thank you very much.
You're welcome to our Naked Television.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so dear viewers, sit back as the program runs. Doc, I don't know, recently, you know, the news space went agog with news stories of the state government launching the Enugu Air, launching the CNG buses, you know, about to commission the bus terminals. I want you to talk us through these projects one at a time. Maybe let's begin with the Enugu Air, for instance. Is it really true that as we speak, that Enugu State is about to have its own Enugu Air?
Yeah, Enugu Air is a reality. And you know that when we mentioned from the blues, we just heard about Enugu Air, but it is something that has been on for quite some time, you know, the processes. And at the end of the day, the government delivered. But as it is now, it is about to take off. But they are at the recruitment stage. You know, it was an open interview. It was contracted out to a consultant who is interviewing people. You know, are called for applications and all that, and because they need to work with people. All right, so they are, and the process of recruitment is ongoing, and as soon as that is done, it will take off, and we take off with at the local level, local flights. Then we move on to Africa, you understand, strategic African countries, you understand, and then move to Asia, and, you know, all these areas. So that's the situation with Enugu Air. It's a reality. It's not, Peter Mba doesn't say what he wouldn't do. It's something that while it was being bettered, people, as a matter of fact, nobody knew that they were working behind the scene until when the aircraft arrived and they pronounced this is Enugu Air. And then the whole process is ongoing, and very soon, by this May, to take off.
Yeah, so we land.
Yes, it will take off by between now and the end of May to take off. You know, that's the situation with Enugu Air.
Okay, we must have to say congratulations to Ndi Enugu as a matter of fact, because personally and particularly, I am particularly impressed, and I don't know how to express it, because we understand that even the country Nigeria cannot boast at the moment. We used to, but at the moment we don't have you know, air flight of our own as a country, you know, except for what we saw played out in last administration, where they said they had a Nigerian air, but at the end of the day it was a rented flight. But this time around we are not talking about flights being rented. We are talking about real-time airplanes.
Yes.
For Ndi Enugu.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? It's going to be shuttling from Enugu Airport across the country?
Yes, that's what I say, that it will be at the local level. You understand, flying from maybe to Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, you know. Then by the time we take off, over the time it will now graduate to Africa. You understand? Where applying some routes in Africa, like Johannesburg, maybe South Africa. You understand? Kenya, and all these other places in Africa. And then after which the next phase will be international, properly so called, where it will now route to Asia, to America, and all that. So it's a reality. It's just a reality.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That having been said, we'll still come back to other issues around the Enugu Air project. But let's leave the airspace now. Let's come down to the ground. We also understand there are this new set of CNG buses in town as well. Talk us through the CNG buses project.
Yeah, the CNG buses, you could see them at Okpara Square. Many of them are parked there. You understand? And the idea behind the CNG, why CNG in the first place? It was because the government wanted to ameliorate the transport cost for the people of Enugu State. Because if you look at the transport cost, it is quite very high, because of the price of PMS. If you buy high, you sell high, isn't it? But government wants a situation where it will be easier for the Enugu person to go from one place to the other without really having to pay too much. You understand? I don't know, from Gariki to Holy Ghost, I don't know how much they collect now. It's gonna be maybe,
considering the cost of
fuel, might even be up to 1,000 naira. Okay, but if you end up paying 100 naira or even 50 naira, can't you see that it is quite it's something to cherish? So that is the idea behind that. So government now say, okay, how do we deal with that? After the interchange terminals have been set up, what vehicles are going to ply the routes? How are we going to do it in such a way that is going to be cheap for the Enugu person? So that's what the government has done. So the government brought in the CNG buses. So the CNG buses will be, plying the various routes in Enugu, and then on Suka in intrastate, kind of movement from one place to the other. So that's the arrangement, and the whole idea is to make transport costs cheap for the Enugu person, where we will get to the terminal, then condition the CNG bus. You enter, you wait, and then it even begins with a cleaner environment. Do you understand? Environment where you are, because what obtained before was a terrible thing. If you go to Ogbete, for instance, you see the miscreants, the urchins, people shouting and all that, Ifendala, as it were. But this time around, it is a kind of an enhanced system that allow for people to come in and then enjoy the environment, even the ambience itself. Look at the interchange terminal. If you go there, you think you are in the airport. Have you been there?
Yes, of course.
If you think you are in the airport. So
that's the bus terminals.
The bus terminals, yes. And then you get there, and there will be sanity. There will be sanity, unlike what obtained before. There will be sanity. There will be process. There will be procedure. Things will be done in order. There are orderliness. You understand? And then you buy your ticket, and then sit down and wait for the bus, and then relax. A good environment. You understand? And when the bus comes, you board. You understand? And things like that. So at least these are the things we get to see in developed countries, and these are the things we are beginning to see in Nigeria.
And in Nigeria, we're talking about Enugu State.
We're talking about Enugu State, because the governor, you see, what the governor wanted to do is to, apart from, jigging the economy of Enugu State, raising the GDP up to $30 billion, one thing, there are three things this government wants to do. Number one is to make Enugu a tourism hub. You understand? The first choice of investment destination. All right. Then number two is to to eradicate poverty. You understand? And then take the GDP up to that $30 billion. These are the three things. So, and you find out that every project the government is undertaking is in line with this, is in line with achieving this,
Okay.
and then making life easy for the people of the state. That's what the government has done, and we bless God because Peter Mbah didn't come to do any other thing but to work. You understand? And he stated it clearly in his manifesto. All these things that are being done are in the manifesto. You understand? And they are being done with commitment. You know, look at the smart schools, for instance. That we have 260 smart schools in Enugu State, and most of them by September, all of them will be ready. 260 takes 1.2 billion to construct one smart
That's
school.
one, and then we're talking about 260.
Type 2, and then we are talking about 260, and we're also talking about type 2 hospital.
Okay, Doc.
Which we so I mean
we will give maybe
Yeah.
a very little time for you to take us through one or two other developmental strides of the government.
Yeah.
But then still on the transport sector.
Yes.
So now we know the CNG buses are here.
Yes, the CNG, but you can see they are here.
They are here.
Yes.
Yes, we've said the Opera Square where our crew was able to see the CNG buses.
Yes.
And then before now, even before December last year, we understand that the bus terminals were already set, built and inaugurated.
Okay.
I visited that of Nsukka.
Yes.
I've seen that of the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
I've seen that at Abakpa.
And Gariki.
And then Gariki.
Yes.
I want to understand what is the intention behind these different locations. Why Nsukka? Why Abakpa? Why Gariki? We could understand that of Holy Ghost is the major point in Enugu. But these other locations, why these locations?
Okay, if you look at Nsukka,
For the terminals now.
For the terminal, for instance, if you look at, there are two urban areas, basically in Enugu State. You understand? Enugu, properly so called. That is Enugu East, Enugu South, Enugu North. You understand? And then Nsukka. These are the urban areas. Apart from the fact that governor made a pronouncement designating some areas as urban centers. You understand? For purposes of maybe land or something. All right. But you find out that Nsukka is the next urban area apart from Enugu. All right. And then if you are looking at movement from Enugu to Nsukka, there's no way you will not bring Nsukka, into the scheme. You understand, because of its strategic importance and economic value. You understand, and then that is why that of Nsukka was quite very contentious. As people said, it was land grabbing. That have come to.
Because you understand there were issues around.
There were issues around us, but government went on and built it, and now everybody is saying the different thing, because they have seen that there was no land grab. Even Enugu here now, Ugabala had a press conference where he was shouting that this is about land grabbing. He wants to grab land. Now Ugabala has gone into his shell because he's no longer talking, having seen that
Ugabala is the APC state
chairman. Yes, okay. He was on air. He was everywhere. They're saying that he called a press conference and saying this thing is land grabbing. But today he has seen that it is not land grabbing. He has shut up because he doesn't know what else to say, because it is not land grabbing. So, and then if you look at Abakpa, I think it's just strategic. These are strategic locations like Holy Ghost. Then to Abakpa, if you watch movement in Enugu, it is from here Holy Ghost to Abakpa or Holy Ghost to Gariki. You understand? These are the two major trajectories through which movement is aligned in the state. So I think that informed the decision. And while you have parks, you understand, major parks. You understand, you have park at Abakpa, park at, just look at it this way, and it's that triangular kind of a thing. Then from there you can distribute to other areas within the state. I think that was what informed that.
Informed the choice for the location.
Yes.
Not necessarily because that's where Enugu begins and that's where Enugu ends.
No, because the CNG buses will also be plying Emene. You understand? We're plying other areas, Transekulu, everywhere. You understand? But there are terminals. You understand? This is where your journey terminates. Do you understand? Terminate at Nsukka, or begin at Nsukka, terminate at Abakwa, begin at Abakwa, Nsukka, terminate at Holy Ghost, and all that. These are, that's the arrangement.
Okay, now we should be going on a break. As the signals are coming from the producer, we'll go on this very quick short break, and when we return, we'll go into the part 2.